Today's guest is Mathias Berner, author of the new book Heart Millionaire and founder of the Mathias Berner Academy and also the United to Heal online summits. Mathias has a free online summit starting on 24 February and running until the 1st of March. There are English presentations as well as German, so be sure to register at www.unitedtoheal.com and find out more information about Mathias at www.mathiasberner.de. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now my mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies, and a very warm welcome to Homeopathy Hangouts. Today, we get to speak with, I think this is our first German guest, possibly, the lovely Mathias Berner from Germany. Guten Tag.
Yeah, hi, Eugenie. It's nice to meet you.
Well, I feel like I know you already because I have watched so many video presentations of you and YouTube videos, and I've been following you on Facebook for ages, so I feel like I know you already.
Oh, beautiful. That's what many people say.
It's funny how the internet can do that, hey? Yeah. So tell us a little bit, Mathias, how were you first introduced to homeopathy? And maybe tell us the stories of all the, I mean, you've got so many different natural therapies that you use and you're familiar with. So maybe just tell us the story of how did you get into
this is what I actually ask. What I actually ask when I go do interviews. Yeah, actually,
it's fun being on the other side. Hey.
Yeah, it's beautiful to be on the other side. I love it so much.
Cool. Well, it's your turn. You've got the floor.
Right. So actually, I was always interested in the essence of life. So I grew up on the farm, on a great farm. I mean, in Germany, it's a bit different than down under, but it was a farm which was really flowering, and we brought it up with my parents, and I was just really on the ground though. And they asked me to take it over. And then I first thought as this young man, yeah, okay, let's take it over. It's good. And then I felt, it's not all. If my life should end on a farm, I love that, but I still love it. But I felt it's too small and the earth is too huge and I need more. I need to explore more of life. And so I dropped the safety. My parents were embarrassed. And it was really a drama because I skipped everything after my A-levels and also learned about farming and so on. And then I went to India, and in India, I learned from different masters, and I was also at the Osho ashram, but also later at different others. I was with the Tibetans and so on. And I learned about healing because this was really something which interested me. And of course, what also interested in what is this soul and what is this? Why are we like how we are? Because I felt when I was young, I felt that, there was the war. Now we again have this. The Americans and the Russians were struggling here and they build up weapons. And I felt it's so damn crazy. We invest so much money in weapons and so on and invest here and there. The huge corporations, they all make huge tons of money and rule the world at those times already. And I felt, hey, this is so crazy. And how can we heal ourselves that we are also not like sheep running behind every wolf who is yelling? And so I felt there must be something bigger. And I also wanted to go to the essence of the soul. What is that? So when I said in the first time in front of the master, I had such an experience and such an inner explosion and vastness and wideness. I felt it was so amazing. I could see suddenly through people and I could see the whole life story of other people. And I felt, oh my God, what's going on here now? And I felt, am I now crazy or what? But I knew I'm not, because now I know my heart was expanding so much and there is so much wisdom and there's so much, when we are open, there is so much intelligence coming through us and all the crap is just doesn't touch us anymore. It is so small, the mind with his yakati and yakatiya. And when the heart expands. So this was my first experience then in India with the master. And then I felt, wow, this is amazing also. And we all could actually let go of our suffering, of our sicknesses, when we learn to get rid of our limitations, which we are having inside and which are also implanted in us since ages, because I felt we are not just flesh. We are I became a huge being. And I first time got that the borders are not just here, they are much wider. So, and then I went on the path of healing, and then I tried to learn every healing method which I was able to, from the Hawaiian massage to chakra reading and Reiki and prana healing and body work, massage down, everything actually. And I also learned how to get rid of childhood issues. So inner limitations. So I did a lot of primal work and tantra work, also sexuality later. That was later. Several times went really deep into, like, I don't know, people know the Fischer-Hoffman process. So you go deep into issues of your childhood where you really feel the wounds are, or you don't even know why you are limited. So I wanted to go deep. So that was my life. I felt, wow, this is here I find something. Here I find who I am and who I'm not. Because I more and more saw, and also through the teachers, also the Dalai Lama and other teachers, I learned that actually we are what we are not. We are not our Yakatiya mind who is telling us this and that, but we are a soul, and we are just a being, and just endless, describing less. This is a space, but what many people also call God, So I did all these healing arts and so on. Then, of course, I went on with the journey. And next to that, I built up a textile business, because when I was young, and of course, I didn't want to go to the farm anymore. And then I started selling hats. And
I've seen photos of your hats and the events that you've been in, the shows. And I didn't even know how. I think it was on your Facebook page. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I didn't see that one coming. And hats, all the garments and all the, the homeopath in me is interested in why hats. What is it that a hat represents? And maybe the mind, the head. Maybe that's because you're interested in that part. Yeah.
Now, what I also liked was to see a smile of a person, because when I started with this, I started on markets, and later it became bigger and bigger with my own factories in India and offices in China. And so, because then I started delivering the big players. And what I loved is to, we were juicy, we were young, we had fun. And then we were on these fairs and markets and so on. And then we were selling it to the people first directly. And it was so nice to see the designs on somebody and having somebody smiling and feeling people feel beautiful and having really a nice time with the people to which we were selling them. So it was never something, it was vivid, it was alive, So I like you are smiling. I had many women. I sold mostly to women because they love hats more than men, although now it's changed a bit. So they were always so happy to find the right one for themselves, the right hat, which fits to them and to their style and to their being.
If you can ever design a hat for me, because I have a fringe, I just never wear hats because I hate when I take it off that my fringe is just flat on my head. So I've always thought if somebody can design a hat that's not going to squish my fringe. My husband bought me this beautiful, really expensive Akubra hat. That's just this brown. I don't know if you know Akubra. And when I saw the price tag, I actually wanted to go and return it because I couldn't believe he spent that much on a hat, but it was my birthday present, so I couldn't. And I wear it, but every time I do, I just get so annoyed that my fringe gets squished. So Matthias, I'm putting it out there. If you can design me a hat that's not going to squish my fringe, I will buy it.
Ever go back into this profession, but I doubt that.
Okay. Oh, well, so my problem lives on.
I went to India or also learned things in Switzerland, Germany about healing. And homeopathy came very late into my life. First, we went to a Tibetan retreat, and Doris, my wife, was sick. She was really sick. And she had this blocked nose and fever and this and that during the retreat. And we wanted to fly the next day, and it was almost impossible. And then our friend said, I know a homeopath. Let's call her. And actually, she's completely full, but if I call her, she will take some time. Yeah. And then she talked to her, and she gave her these three globally. And suddenly she could fly. She was not completely healthy, but it was ready, I think 80% off.
Wow.
And she said, it's unbelievable. Normally I'm here since so many, I will stay another few days in the bed if I have this. And this time it went just off immediately. And then we got our attention on homeopathy. Then we went to this lady because she was living in Berlin. It was just a phone call she had with her, and we were in France. So when we came back, and a few months later, we went to her, and the whole family was there. And since then, we went, it was the wife of Nathaniel Schwartz, who is now just doing a course about aptogens with us. So it is amazing.
Very
so
cool.
what came out of that, So since then, we became more and more aware of homeopathy. And my first talk, when I went to her for the first time, said, yeah, I do everything, but please don't tell me that I don't have to drink coffee. Because I heard that homeopaths say, I don't drink coffee. And she said, no, you can drink whatever you want. If you would have the constitution if you should not drink coffee, I would tell you, but you can drink coffee.
Oh, cool.
I said, okay, then let's start. And then it was nice because she was really asking all about my life and so on. And during that time, there was some wobbling in my company because I became bigger and bigger with my company. And there was some corruption at my biggest customer. And I make it short. It was really hard stuff because we were the best supplier of the biggest German textile company, or they are in Europe, the biggest one. And we supplied anyway many giants. But this one was really the biggest, and they made more than 50-60% turnover with us. So suddenly they had a new buyer, and the buyer was completely corrupt. And he wanted to bring his people in and did everything to kick us out because there's so much corruption in this. You cannot believe it. These textile giant, the buyers, they all have accounts in Hong Kong and in China somewhere, and they get the money, they get percentage of the factories and so on. It's really amazing. And I was too innocent for that because I never wanted to do that. I just felt, okay, if I'm doing a good job, it should be rewarded. That's it. And so that happened. And then we came really into some struggle because we lost from one day to another 50% of our turnover. Oh. And that was really tough. And then, she was with me all the time. And I got so many nice high potencies, nut more for the suffering, and
maybe some aurum as well.
Lycopodium was one, and tuberculinum because I was exactly.
And that's what a homeopath should be. They should be that person that walks alongside you through your toughest times in your life to just help you along through that and just kind of make the ups and downs, just even that out a little bit more. So that's wonderful that you had a homeopath with you during that time.
It was really wonderful. Yeah. In the hardest days, even she died. That was really but her husband took over then after a while. And then now he's doing courses with us, and he's really extraordinary because he also went through the depths. If you lose somebody and you have this in your life, your beloved, and you are with this person, it gives such a depth and it gives such a
empathy.
It's amazing. So he was also then following up in a very beautiful way. Yeah. So homeopathy came to me, and part of my saving my life, because when you lose everything, you lose your image. And I was so high before, jet setting here and there and spiritual. We felt the world is ours. And suddenly you get this crash down and everything is destroyed. It went really to a full I lost everything. But what I also felt already during the treatment and through being spiritual and working with these big corporations, I felt my soul was saying, hey, actually, it's not your thing. You're a healer. But I didn't want to listen to that. So that's why I wrote in my book also, Listen When Your Soul Whispers, because I was so attached to what I was doing. And it was such a an amazing image I had. And, oh, you're in the international textile. And I felt, whoa, I'm big. And then it crashed completely. And for me, it was like, oh my God, my life is now, my full identity was bursting. And I was really lying at the ground. And first I tried to get up and fight. You know, I'm this fighting person. I never give up. And all these management trainings, they also never give up, go with it. But that was a huge mistake, because I feel sometimes when life really knocks you down, you need to stay there and lay there and start feeling. And that was amazing insight once when I was in the forest and I had all this suffering and crying because I was really down. I got this insight, yeah, when life knocks you down, just stay there and start feeling. And then I recovered in a different way. And one day I was just letting go. I said, okay, I will not fight anymore. I just let go. And if the old doesn't want to stay or doesn't want me to be in that, what I'm doing, there must be something else life wants me to do. And funnily, before we started that, before this all happened, we started just out of fun. We started to do homeopathy summits. And this is now a few years back, and we just started because we felt, wow, homeopathy is so nice. I had a nice friend, Gabi, who's also a homeopath, and Doris, my wife, and we were sitting together and we said, oh, we have to do something. We need to, because we were talking so inspiringly all the time on the table and this and that. We talked about health and spirituality and so on, and also about, of course, what happened to my company. But then we felt, oh, we have to do something which helps the people, which is really giving people more understanding about health and homeopathy, because we felt homeopathy was helping us so much. And then we started, and she said, these are the biggest homeopaths and in Germany. And I said, okay, I only know now my homeopath, but I'm open. And then contacted all of them and said, hey, we want to open a summit about homeopathy. And they, wow, what's that? Because nobody knew about summits. Nobody knew about podcasts, was rarely, especially the homeopath. And when we said, there was so much dust on homeopathy. There was so much, it was a bit old, and people didn't really get the access to it. And there were just some homeopaths here and there who tell you what to do. But there was not this, what is it? There was no inspiration about it. And we felt, wow, it's such an amazing method. It's in my eyes, the most modern method we can work with. But people were not aware of it. And that's why we said, okay, let's start. And then we started that. And the first summit was immediately, we had 6,000 people. And the next one we had 9,000 people. And then we had 25,000 people. And then Corona came, and it was so amazing, because when Corona came, we also said, hey, we need to inform the people about what they can do to strengthen the immune system, to strengthen their dynamic, and to be really healthy during all that, what's happening. And we interviewed those who had already experience with it. We interviewed all the homeopaths, and then many were not allowed to practice, but many were, and many just did it. They just said, okay, I don't treat COVID, I just treat the person. Yeah. Okay. So they helped so many people. And they had much better results than all the other stuff which was available later. And we were showing it to the world, and all about how to eat well, how to have the right vitamins, especially vitamin D is a big point here in Europe. And because we are all sitting in our rooms and have not enough vitamin D, how to move yourself, how to breathe, how the mind is also influencing our health, and so on. So we put it all together, and people were learning so much. And I received so many thank you letters, which I had never received in my life before. Yeah.
That's amazing. Let's talk about that. And the summit you call United to Heal, right?
Yeah.
When's your next summit? And who are some of the speakers?
Summit? Yeah, the next summit is happening very soon. It's just end of this month. I don't know when this will be displayed.
Oh, so end of February?
Yeah, it's end of February till beginning of March. Is the next United to Heal Summit. And then there will, because I do two formats. One is the United to Heal Summit, which is only about homeopathy. Of course, around it, we have always nice, interesting people who really, from whom we can learn, because the people we interview are not people who just talk, not these kind of speakers who are made up and tell everything which they have not experienced themselves. We have homeopaths who work daily with the people and who have the success. And that was important for me because I want it to be honest and to be real. And all the homeopaths that yourself and everybody who is listening here, they work daily with the people and they know what works and what doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, they really try to improve. And that is also for us so important to be honest and say, hey, this works, this doesn't work. And for these people, this work, and for that people, that works. Because it was interesting to learn about the different ways of how homeopathy is used. And then we also were encountered from people who were rigid in their mind, said, no, homeopathy has to be like my way. Yeah. And then others say, no, my way. But we started in our summits immediately that this is not what we will talk about. How does it work? And not about an egoism who wants to sell his own style of doing it. Because I feel that everybody every person goes to the homeopath who's right for him. Yes. And if it doesn't work, this system, then you go to another who works differently.
Amen, brother. Absolutely. I think that is, I've said it a few times on the show, I think that is part of the power of homeopathy. Because we prescribe so wildly differently, you can go and find the homeopath that you resonate with. So it's not a one size fits all. Go and find the person that you resonate with, their style of prescribing, the way that they do things. I think that's part of the power of homeopathy. It adds to it, doesn't take away from it. So nice to hear you say that, Matthias.
I think this is really essential, because it would, as if you say this water is the right water, the water in Australia is the real water and not the water in Germany, because homeopathy is in itself a system. It cannot be misguided or misused, because it cannot be. It is in itself, it works. And that is the way. It's an inspiration to bring your life dynamics, as I say, back into power, back into flow, and it helps in different ways. And so it doesn't matter if you get this remedy or that. Of course, it might matter for the individual, because everybody is so unique and so different. And it is only about that we are all living our full potential, and that we are coming back into our life, into our vibration of life, and that we feel that why we are here for, to help and to express ourselves and to really become vivid people. And if homeopathy can give the impulse for that, then it's the right thing. And it can also, sometimes you need to get out of your ditch, and then it can help you also to breathe again.
Absolutely. I'm trying to find your details here on your website of exactly when the summit is, because I want to make sure that our listeners can still register in time. And I've also just found because we're recording this early February, and this wasn't going to go out till middle March, but I actually can push it a little bit earlier. So I just want to make sure that I put it out at the right time. So where have you got the dates?
We start on the 24th and on
24th of February.
February, and the 2nd or 3rd of March we will stop. And it's all for free, like we always do it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, you can watch it for free, 24 hours, but you have to be there. If you miss something, then of course we have one last day where you can watch again. But if you want to take the easy seat, you just buy the summit package. And we have many people who buy it. I must say, people really love it, because we got so much information about the different ways of homeopathy, how it is used and how people use it. And there's so much information about nosodes, about potencies, about this and that. And in this summit is specialized on spring, on we'll have spring soon. Is all about allergies, food intolerances, and so on, and how to detoxify yourself and your organs and this and that, and all with the help of homeopathy. And it is all inclusive. So for us, homeopathy is really a part of the big healing story because it gives the impulses. And often you just give it globally and you don't have to do anything else anymore. But often it is also good to take assistance here and there and go through, especially if we are traumatized, it's good also to take other help. But homeopathy can really help you to go much easier through all the traumas. Yeah.
It really can.
Yeah. So I have a nice interview just yesterday, I had a beautiful interview with Hari Fandasi, who is working in Africa and with all the AIDS people about AIDS and malaria. And he has so many beautiful results. It is amazing. And so we interview people from all over the world. And the summit is mainly in German, but all the English people are translated. And of course, as I just told you, I'm looking for somebody who maybe partner up with us, and then we could do something, translate it more to, so that, because we have a few thousand people from English speaking countries all over the world, from Australia, from the US, from the States, and from India and Brazil, everywhere. And they always ask us, why don't you translate everything? We said, yeah, we would love to. And we would even translate the others. But it's really a lot of work. You know it from the podcast.
It's so much nobody can ever know how much work it is until you do something like this yourself. I sometimes think it's really good. I didn't know how much this podcast was going to cost me in editing and how much time it was going to take, because I definitely wouldn't have done it if I knew. Luckily, I get to hang out with really amazing people like you. And that makes everything worthwhile. And when you get that email of somebody that sent you an email, like you said, during COVID, you got all those appreciation emails. When I get an email from somebody say they were in a dead-end job and my podcast inspired them to study homeopathy, that is worth more than any money in the world. So that really does, it adds that fuel to the fire. Like every now and again, I'll get a nice email when I'm feeling down and it will just lift me up. And so it is nice to get that acknowledgement. But if anyone's listening to the show and you can sprechen Sie Deutsch and Sie English, please do get in touch with Mathias and see if you've got any IT skills or in some sort of translation skills. Please do reach out. It's a shame to not have this information in multi languages, not just English, but I was scrolling through all the speakers that you have on there. I don't know how many, there must be like 100.
It's I think about more than 300 speakers.
Oh my gosh. Because I was going to say, I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled. And it was funny because I was like, oh, Rajan Sankaran is in here. And I know that you do all the wise things with him. And literally right at the bottom was Rajan's name. And I had to laugh because anybody else would have put Rajan right at the top. But you have so many amazing speakers. And I felt like it was my little thank you for scrolling all the way to the bottom and seeing his name there. But I mean, he's very closely linked with you guys in some sort of way. I don't know how, but do you present the WISE programs? Because I see you often in doing things with him. So what's the relationship there?
This is really, Rajan is really a friend. He's such a beautiful being and he has to give so much because he also is interested that people wake up and people come into their heart and into the core. And he has developed the WISE process in which you can really, on a gentle way, explore who you are and who you are not. And also he has also linked it with homeopathy. So the WISE process, I really had to convince him to do it online because he said, oh no, normally we only do it in India, only in the retreat center. And then we said, okay, I said, let's try it. And it was such an amazing course. We had more than 750 people in it. It was really beautiful. And the first one we did, and it was, so people they learn about who they are not and who they are. So you explore what is the other song and what is it not. And we also made a full course from it. We made a training from it. So you can really learn that. And it helps so much in the practice because when people come with their issues here and there, you get led into the inside and into what is really, sometimes you feel something is driving me and don't know why. And something is really, why do I get all like this? And then you explore exactly this, what you don't want to look at in a very gentle way. It's people work with each other and it's a very nice and atmosphere. So everybody can open up and learn about himself or herself. And people went through amazing transformations with this. And then we did another module about how to use it in the practice as a homeopath, how to use the WISE process with your clients. And so amazing what comes out, how people open up, how they come more close to their heart and to their being. And Rajan, he is an amazing meditation facilitator. So he does these meditations and guides the people also. So there is the WISE process, there's talking, there's meditation in it, and you work very individually with each other. And it's great. So
have you got another one of those courses coming up? Is it just like a once intake, or can you join at any stage?
No, we tried it as like from a tin, and we said, no, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. It has to be live. And we will do another one in autumn. And because we said it must be really it really needs to be led by him personally, because this is so special and this is important. So we cannot just do it and like an online course and then you learn something. This is not only a learning for the mind. Here you learn, from another dimension. And that is making it so amazing.
I really hope I can join in on the next one. This master practitioner course that I'm doing with CHE with Hilary Dorian is finishing in June. And you said autumn. Your autumn, is that around September? No, when's your autumn?
My autumn is around September. Exactly.
Okay, cool. So I'll be done then. So I'll be ready for the next one. Sounds like a plan. Oh,
absolutely.
Matthias, can you also tell us about your book, The Heart Millionaire? It's only in German at the moment. Funny enough, it says on the cover, Heart Millionaire, but then the rest is German. The rest is German. And so once again, if somebody's listening here that would like to translate that so the rest of us can enjoy it as well, that'd be great. But tell us a little bit about what the book's about. You can just tease us, and then we can't read it anyway, but hopefully
the Heart Millionaire book.
Oh, I like the cover. It's beautiful.
It is actually about what I told you in the beginning, but more in depth. Here, this was my homeopathic altar.
Oh, wow. I like that you put that photo in there. It makes it very personal.
Yeah, it's very personal. It's my autobiography, and it's about what I told you in the beginning, especially my life, about how I went to India, made all my amazing experiences and meeting the master and get it. And then also how it works when you really are down in your life, how to come out of that. And I also talk about all these power coaches, and it was also nice. There were nice parts in it because I came from the business. So I did all these coachings, and I really went to the best coaches, and it's about how to get out of a ditch when you're really in it and maybe only the hand sticks out. How to pull yourself out.
Little hair.
How to learn, and also to learn what health really means and what it means also to be happy and to live really what life wants you to live. So coming also back to setting goals, more to where is the call coming from. And it's because it's actually what I really experienced in my life. First, with all the enthusiasm I was on and with all the depression I was in also, and how to get out of that and how to live a life which is really fulfilled and which is full of splendor and full of joy, and also includes tears and sadness, but still being really, being yourself and being true and honest with yourself. And then that means being healthy. So this is what Heart Millionaire is about.
Beautiful. Mathias, have you got a final message for our listeners? And can you please tell them how they can get hold of you?
Okay, you can get hold of me. I think you do.
It'll be in the show notes. Yeah, just if you quickly want to give a shout out to your website.
Yeah, there's a website, MathiasBerner.de. And I also have another summit format, which is called the Inner Evolution Summit, on which also some homeopaths are speaking, but also other scientists and healers about health. And it is so amazing because all the amazing healers and scientists say that homeopathy is the medicine for the future. So it is so nice to learn to open up the mind and come from a bigger perspective. So yeah, my last message is that you're an amazing being. You're so full of potential. Just live it. Just try things. Just fall into the ditch and get up again, and just learn to live life, and also learning to say yes also to that which hurts sometimes, and learning to get out of it, and learning what's the message is behind when really your soul or God, and however you call it, is calling you, and following that. And we all are so amazing guests on this planet and can make it very beautiful. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much for your time, Mathias. I really appreciate it. Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Thank you for letting me talk here.
It was a pleasure. Talk to you soon.